Superheroes rule the world, at least according to Hollywood. Recently, however, there has been a slight downward trend with movies featuring our favorite caped crusaders, but there's just no denying the impact these characters have on pop culture and society as a whole. Movies like Christopher Reeve's Superman set the tone for how a superhero movie can be cheesy and fun while still demanding to be taken seriously. Well, I guess as seriously as a man who turns back time by flying against the flow of the Earth's rotation. I remember when the Fairly OddParents had an episode or a special, and they used this technique to pause time, and I thought that's how time really worked back then. Yeah, I wasn't the smartest kid. As more superhero movies came and went, the genre got taken more seriously. Well, not every movie. From origin stories to ensemble films to parody movies, superhero movies are everywhere. But now I feel like superhero movies attempt to create more stories with huge overarching plots and outlandish set pieces in order to keep the viewer entertained. And in doing this, they lose a bit of their charm and simplicity. I recently watched the first 3 episodes of Amazon's Gen V, and I think it's quite a good show from what I've watched so far, but as I was watching it, my mind kept wandering to another movie with superheroes in a special school. And no, not the X-Men, which actually would be a more apt comparison now that I think about it, but I'm talking about Sky High! I love this movie, and I miss the days when studios made movies like Sky High. Let's do a quick recap before we get started. Sky High features a young teenager named Will Stronghold, played by Michael, and I apologize for my pronunciation of his last name, Angarano? Oregano? If you saw The Forbidden Kingdom, then he's the main character in that movie. But Will Stronghold is a son of 2 legends that exist in the world of enhanced people. His parents, Steve Stronghold and Josie DeMarco Stronghold, or the Commander and Jetstream respectively, are 2 of the top superheroes in their area. Sounds like quite the legacy to live up to. Will is about to enter his journey of super-powered stardom, but first he has to go through every kid's nightmare, school. There's just one teeny little issue, however. He still hasn't received, or I guess developed is the better word for it, his powers. Up to this point in the movie, which is still the beginning, he's a normal guy. The movie sets this up by showing Will, wearing that classic Troy Bolton getup, struggling to bench simple weights. His parents don't know he doesn't have powers, so he pretends to lift heavier when his dad walks into the room.
Low weights, high rep, huh? Good thinking, don't want to bulk up.
After talking with his dad, Will almost dies. Imagine if this is how the movie just ended. On the bus to school, he meets a superfan in the bus driver, and through a pretty cool flying bus sequence second to none other than the GOAT, Miss Frizzle and her magic school bus, Will and Co make it to campus. Just a note, as a kid I always wished there was some kind of ride in Disney World that mimicked this bus ride. I thought it would have been kind of fun, and I can just picture the 4D screen as Ron Wilson, the bus driver, would face the riders and talk us through the experience. Maybe have villains attack the bus on the way, but that's besides the point. At school, Will goes through typical school stuff. Classes, meeting friends, getting bullied, almost getting crushed by a car. You know, typical teenage angst stuff. Through a pretty simple and quite frankly dangerous test, kind of like the sorting hat ceremony in Harry Potter, he becomes a sidekick and befriends a group of other sidekicks who have rather unremarkable powers. Let's break them down, shall we? First, we have Will, Mr. Irrelevant who soon becomes relevant, kind of like Brock Purdy. Next we have Layla, a girl who can control plants like poison ivy. Then we have Ethan, a guy who is the physical manifestation of my anxiety. Magenta is a shapeshifter who can only turn into a guinea pig. And finally Zach, the overconfident human glowstick. Along the way, Will finds a rival who is pretty much just Zuko without all the honor issues, but with maybe some of the daddy issues.
Nobody talks about my father.
Throughout the movie, Will and Warren have to let go of their differences as they team up to play in a friendly and innocent game of Save the Citizen. Although this game might not have been so innocent in the past.
Remember when we used to use real citizens?
Yikes. Eventually, later in the movie, Will and his group of misfits find themselves having to save the day from a group of psychotic teenagers, or as I like to say, teenagers. Then after an intense battle, the day is saved. Okay, this is pretty quick as recaps go, but I didn't want to lose focus on what I wanted to talk about, which is why I think Sky High is a great superhero movie, and why I wish there were more movies like this. As a story, Sky High is pretty basic. We have that classic coming-of-age narrative with a hero who's anxious and unsure of his potential, before ultimately turning into the hero those around him knew he could be, plus more. Or should I say, plus ultra. The movie doesn't do anything new, nor does it try to be anything more than it has to be. Sky High features an ensemble of teenagers who are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to go through this special school to eventually become superheroes and to save the world. Unluckily for our main gang of characters, they are all people with pretty minor powers, but that's where I absolutely adore this movie. The movie's message is very clear and not subtle at all. It doesn't matter what your power is. Powers don't make a hero. Most of the strong, superpowered individuals are jerks and bullies, and they use their powers as a means to abuse and terrorize the other students. Yet it's those with the seemingly weakest abilities who do the most good. The utilization of War and Peace, who is a misunderstood kid who gets shunned by most everyone in school for having a supervillain father, is also one I appreciate greatly. He's like Zuko before Zuko. Once the sidekicks or hero support students warm up to him, we find out that he's not this scary guy. He's just a kid who works a part-time job, but he also goes out of his comfort zone to help this group of kids he ends up growing to like. Kind of similar to Zeke from Minutemen. Man, remember that movie? Might be one of my favorite DCOMs or Disney Channel original movies. My main complaint with this movie is that Layla deserves better. And by better, I mean Warren. They just have such good chemistry on screen, I was rooting for those two. But I think most of the cast has good chemistry with each other in general. The simple story and message gets elevated by the abundance of funny, in my opinion, jokes and off comments made by characters.
We can't change who he is, not without dropping him in a vat of toxic waste. Steve.
The movie clearly doesn't try too hard to be bigger than it needs to be, nor does it try to be deeper or Oscar baity. It's goofy and fun. It has a lot of charm, it's cheesy, lighthearted, and heartwarming. As you probably gathered from this video, I love this movie. I'm not asking for the next Avengers movie to be made like Sky High. Obviously that won't work. What I want, however, is Sky High 2. It's been long enough that we can potentially have Will and Layla's kid attending this crazy school, maybe as the next generation of superheroes. But yeah, if nothing else comes from this potentially amazing series, at least we have this movie. Please let me know down below what you thought of Sky High. Please like and subscribe as well. Don't forget to hit that bell since I do plan on making more videos in the future. But yeah, thanks so much for watching and have a great rest of your day. Bye.